It didn't take long for them to notice. One day, they stormed into my office, causing a scene.
You ungrateful brat. After everything we did for you, this is how you repay us? How dare you cut us off?
That old hag poisoned your mind, huh? You're our son, and we deserve our share. She's dead now. You can just sell everything off. We'll share the money equally and never see each other again. You're both so pathetic. Even if Grandma hadn't given me this instruction, I swear, I'd have still cut you both off. You deserve nothing from me. They cursed me, insulted me, and threatened me, but I refused to dance to their tunes. They had drained Grandma while she was alive. They wouldn't take a single cent from me now that she was gone. For 2 weeks straight, my parents harassed me. They showed up at my office, at my house, even at restaurants where I had meetings. Always screaming and demanding and threatening. And when they realized their tantrums weren't working, they took the next step. They sued me. I wasn't even surprised. The court summons arrived on my desk, stating that they were taking legal action against me for denying them their rightful inheritance. My parents were the definition of privilege, not the kind that came from hard work, but the kind that clung like parasites to someone else's success. My dad's mother, my grandmother, was a wealthy businesswoman. She owned properties, had stocks in major companies, and still, even in her old age, made smart investments. But instead of following in her footsteps, my parents saw her wealth as their personal bank account. My dad didn't work, neither did my mom. They didn't need to, not when Grandma was there to fund their every whim. Dad often proposed business ideas to Grandma, and whenever she sent him money, he and Mom would just lavish it on themselves. One week, they were in Paris, drinking champagne under the Eiffel Tower. The next, they were on some island, lounging on yachts and snapping pictures for their friends. They didn't care about anything but their own pleasure. My grandma once fell ill for an entire month and was on oxygen, but my dad refused to visit or take care of her. She hired nurses, but they would often only reach out when it concerned money. They were toxic and cruel to her, and I hated it. And then there was me. Left behind, as always. They never brought me along, never even called while they were away. But I wasn't completely alone. At least, not at first. We had nannies, a rotating door of different women, each staying just long enough to realize how impossible my parents were before quitting. My parents treated them like servants, barking orders, belittling them, and always forgetting to pay them on time. When I was 5, I had a nanny named Elise. She was kind. She read to me at night and taught me how to tie my shoes. She stayed longer than most, nearly a year. But one day, she packed her bags and left. She hadn't been paid in 4 months. I cried when she left. She was the closest thing to a mother I had ever known. Then came Carla. She lasted 6 months before storming out, cursing in Spanish because my parents had forgotten to pay her too. By the time I turned 8, all the nannies had left. No one wanted to work for my parents anymore. And so, I was alone. At 8 years old, I learned how to take care of myself. I woke up alone. I dressed myself. I made my own breakfast, usually just dry cereal because the fridge was always empty. Mom and Dad weren't home most of the time. When they were either asleep from another drunken night out or too busy fighting over something ridiculous to notice me. I stopped expecting them to remember little things like my birthday, or parent-teacher meetings, or the fact that a child needed love and attention. The only person who ever cared was Grandma. Whenever she visited, she saw the truth. She saw how I was always in the same old clothes, how I had to heat up frozen meals for dinner, how my parents barely acknowledged my existence. Grandma often brought me dresses and all sorts of gifts, but my parents would seize them, sell them, and spend the money. I just couldn't understand why they hated me. Sometimes, I even wondered if I was adopted, or worse. When Grandma noticed how I looked during her visits, she started sneaking money into my room, stuffing cash into my pillowcase so I could at least buy food when my parents weren't around. She paid for my school supplies, sent housekeepers to clean up the mess my parents made, and even threatened to cut them off if they didn't take care of me properly. Of course, they always lied. They promised to be better, swore they'd change. And Grandma, for all her sharp instincts in business, still wanted to believe her son wasn't a lost cause. But I knew better. And deep down, so did she. I don't remember exactly when I started feeling anxious all the time, but by the time I turned 10, it had become unbearable. I was constantly on edge, jumping at every loud sound, overthinking every little thing. I had trouble sleeping, and even when I did, I'd wake up with my heart racing for no reason. Grandma noticed. She always noticed whatever concerned me. One evening, she showed up at the house unannounced. She took one look at me and saw how thin I had gotten, the dark circles under my eyes, the way my hands trembled when I spoke. Then, she made a decision.
You're coming home with me.
I didn't argue. I don't think I even had the energy to argue. My mom and dad barely reacted when she told them. My mom simply nodded, barely looking up from her phone. My dad grumbled something about letting the old bat have her way. That was it. No argument. No resistance. They let me go without a second thought, as if I'd been nothing but a bother to them. And that night, after I left with Grandma, I slept peacefully for the first time in a long time. Living with Grandma was like stepping into another world. A world where I didn't have to fend for myself, where food was always in the fridge, and someone actually asked about my day. She enrolled me in therapy immediately. I didn't want to go at first because I didn't even understand why I felt the way I did, but she insisted.
You've been through too much alone, sweetheart. You don't have to do it alone anymore.
Therapy helped. It gave me words for what I was feeling, which was anxiety, neglect, and abandonment. It helped me realize that none of it was my fault. Grandma made sure I had everything I needed. Clothes that fit, a warm bed, a good school with teachers who actually cared. She even attended my school events, sitting in the front row, clapping the loudest, making me feel like I mattered. And my parents? They never checked on me. Not once. At first it hurt. I used to wonder if they'd call, if they'd visit, if they'd suddenly realize they missed me. But they didn't. The only time I ever saw them was on social media, flaunting their extravagant lives. New vacations, new designer clothes, new luxury cars. Never once did they mention me. Eventually, I stopped expecting them to. By the time I finished high school, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like Grandma. I didn't just want to live off her wealth, I wanted to help her manage it. I wanted to prove to her that she had made the right choice by taking me in. When I told her I wanted to go to business school, she teared up.
I'm so proud of you, Andrew.
I poured everything I had into business school. While others partied, I studied. While some skipped lectures, I sat in the front row, absorbing every lesson. I knew what I wanted was to make Grandma proud. And I did. I graduated with distinctions, standing among the best in my class. Grandma was overjoyed. She cried when I received my final results, holding my face between her hands and kissing my forehead.
I knew you'd do it. You've always been meant for greatness.
After graduation, job offers flooded in. Prestigious firms, international companies, high-paying positions. They all wanted me. But I turned them all down. My place was with my grandma. The first year of managing the company was intense. I worked tirelessly, and the results were astounding. My grandma was so proud and impressed that she stepped down and left everything in my authority 1 year later. I ensured Grandma had everything she wanted. Anything she desired was hers. She had taken care of me when I had no one. Now, it was my turn to take care of her. But life is cruel. One evening, after a long day at work, I returned home to meet my grandma sitting on her favorite chair. She wasn't breathing anymore. I wept like a child. No amount of wealth or success could bring her back. The pain was unbearable, but I knew she would have wanted to be honored with a burial as dignified as the life she had lived. And I made sure of it. Her funeral was grand, filled with people whose lives she had touched. Employees, friends, business partners. But my parents? I refused to let them attend. They hadn't cared when she was alive. They had no right to mourn her in death. That was when the real problems started. After the mourning period ended, I did what Grandma had asked me to do. I cut my parents off completely. No more money. No more gifts. No more lifeline. They weren't entitled to anything. It didn't take long for them to notice. One day, they stormed into my office, causing a scene.
You ungrateful brat. After everything we did for you, this is how you repay us? How dare you cut us off?
That old hag poisoned your mind, huh? You're our son, and we deserve our share. She's dead now. You can just sell everything off. We'll share the money equally and never see each other again. You're both so pathetic. Even if Grandma hadn't given me this instruction, I swear, I'd have still cut you both off. You deserve nothing from me." They cursed me, insulted me, and threatened me, but I refused to dance to their tunes. They had drained Grandma while she was alive. They wouldn't take a single cent from me now that she was gone. For 2 weeks straight, my parents harassed me. They showed up at my office, at my house, even at restaurants where I had meetings, always screaming and demanding and threatening. And when they realized their tantrums weren't working, they took the next step. They sued me. I wasn't even surprised. The court summons arrived on my desk, stating that they were taking legal action against me for denying them their rightful inheritance. I laughed at their foolishness. How could they even think they could win against me? The day of the hearing arrived. My parents walked into the courtroom with so much pride and confidence. They stood before the judge, boldly presenting their so-called evidence, which was a will they claimed my grandmother had left behind, proving they were entitled to her fortune. Their first disgrace came immediately. The judge examined the document and within minutes determined it was a forgery. My parents' faces paled. They'd just committed a crime while trying to cheat. That was when I decided to end them completely. I submitted my own evidence. I'd hidden it since Grandma died. It was a legally recognized written will. She told her lawyer to only give it to me after she died. And then, to remove all doubts, I submitted a video recording of my grandmother, also given to me by the lawyer. In the video, Grandma repeated everything in her written will.
"I declare that everything I own belongs to my grandson Andrew. My son and his wife will receive nothing."
The moment the video ended, I turned to my parents. Their smugness was gone and replaced by panic. They knew they had lost. The judge, looking at me, asked if I wished to grant them anything out of goodwill. I didn't hesitate to refuse. In fact, I want everything they own returned to me. The house, the cars, the money, everything. The judge approved it immediately, and my parents were sent to jail for 6 months for forging the document. I took the house, gave out the cars to those who needed them, and took out every single penny in their accounts, ensuring they'd have nothing to return to when they're out of jail. After that, I opened a charity foundation in my grandmother's name, using my parents' former house as the headquarters. A week after they were released from their 6-month jail term, they showed up at one of my houses. They were homeless, wearing mismatched outfits, looking so malnourished. They begged me for a place to stay.
"The streets are too cold, Andrew. We'll die out there."
I pretended to think about it. I told them to wait. Then I went inside, grabbed a bucket of ice water and dumped it over their heads. They ran away, shivering and screaming and cursing. I laughed so much. A few days later, they returned. This time, they weren't asking for shelter, just water and food because they were starving. So, I obliged and handed them expired dog food.
Dog food? How can you be so cruel? You give your starving parents expired dog food?
You're the most evil person on earth. I laughed at them before I unleashed the dogs. They ran again, screaming at the top of their lungs. That was the last time they dared to approach me. After a few months, I called my parents and told them I had forgiven them and would help them financially, on one condition. They had to go on live television and confess how they had treated me. Of course, they were desperate and agreed. They went on live TV and confessed everything. The media turned against them, showering them with insults and outrage. The next day, they contacted me, expecting the financial help I had promised. But when I answered the phone, I just laughed and said, "Do you have any paperwork or contract proving what we agreed on?" When they hesitated and said no, I simply replied, "Then I didn't promise you a dime." To worsen their situation, I contacted them anonymously, claiming they had won some money and needed to sign paperwork in Mexico. Since my dad loved money but hated working, he often played the lottery online, so he and my mom easily fell for it. They foolishly believed me, and I even booked them a one-way ticket there. When they landed, I stopped answering their emails and calls, leaving them stranded. Since they love vacations, I gave them one for free. I then filed a restraining order, just to ensure they never came near me again. They never did, because they were far away. Thanks for watching. I heard an almighty crash and a scream. My baby. I went to the top of the stairs to see what was going on and found my little sister crumpled at the bottom of the stairs, arm twist wrong.
What happened?
I accidentally broke John's toy box and he pushed me down the stairs.
Oh no, we've let this go too far. Jean, you take Alina to the hospital. I'll deal with John. I didn't say anything. My dad packed my suitcase and then took me to my grandma's house. I got out of the car and let them drive away.
Johnny, is that you?
Yes, Grandma, it's me. No matter how many cookies Grandma gave me, I still felt rotten. My parents didn't want me. My sister was and I didn't know what my life was going to look like from here on out. 2 years after dropping me off, my grandma died. My name is John, and my story starts when I was 10 years old. My little sister was 8, and she was spoiled. She was given everything she wanted at the drop of a hat. My mom and dad ran after her all the time, never saying no to her. By the time she was 8, she was utterly ruined. She screamed the moment she thought she was going to be denied something. She broke my toys if she thought they were nicer than hers, even though they never were. She put my baby blanket in the blender, my childhood teddy in the campfire, and any action figures I had were mutilated. I told my parents that she was destroying my stuff, but they brushed it off, saying it was simply sibling rivalry.
Stop trying to get your sister in trouble, John. You're the older sibling. You have to be the better person.
But being the better person had no benefits. I just had to continually suffer. It was utterly miserable. That is, until my birthday. I'd made an agreement with my parents several months before. If I can save up a quarter of the cost, they will buy me the big new console. I had taken up washing cars and mowing lawns, as well as helping around the house. For those 6 months, I worked and studied and barely had a moment to be near my sister. That, it turned out, was a bad idea. John, old champ, your birthday is right around the corner. How are you feeling? Any idea where we go for food?
I want to go to Burger Room.
We'll go for your birthday, Poppet, but this time it's John's.
No. I want Burger Room. I want.
I was impressed that they'd said now, but my shoulders had already dropped. I knew that if she was putting up a fuss, it was just a matter of time before I was going to be pushed aside. Now, dear, don't you want your brother to enjoy his special day?
No.
My dad just laughed. I decided to agree to Burger Room just to make things easier, but it didn't. My sister bugged my parents in the days leading up for her own gifts. When they tried to reason with her, she got mean. She threw her dolls out of the window and blamed me.
I think he's just acting out.
No matter how often I tried to convince them I wasn't doing anything wrong, they wouldn't believe me. When my birthday came, I couldn't even muster up the excitement. Come on, John. Why the long face? You can't be sad on your own birthday.
Yeah, John. It's your birthday. You should be happy.
She had a nasty glint in her eye that I didn't trust for 1 second. She was trying to get me in trouble, but I don't know how. We ate burgers, but my sister stole my fries. We ordered ice cream, but she poured salt on mine. When the cake came out, she blew on the candles. And then, when the gifts came, she had more than me. We just didn't want her to feel left out. I understand. Thanks, Dad. She opened gift after gift, and I knew immediately that my parents had spent more money on her than they had me. I felt spoiled just comparing, but it was supposed to be my special day. One day a year where I got to have their attention on me. My sister kicked me under the table the whole time while I was opening my gifts. I got a t-shirt for a band I'd never heard of, a gift voucher for a bookstore, and a pencil case with a character I didn't care for. The gifts were more in line with what you would buy for the child of a distant friend, not a son. But I didn't say anything. My heart sank. All that work, and for nothing. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. I love it.
Yeah. My stuff is so great. I love my new dolls and my beautiful new dollhouse. You're the best.
In the car on the way back from the restaurant, I tried not to be too obviously sad. They had tried. I couldn't blame them for that. Though as we parked up, I wondered if it would be rude to ask for the money I had earned back. By the time I got inside, I decided maybe I should give it a day. Wait, John, before you go to your room, will you help me clean the kitchen? Clean the kitchen? He'd never asked me to do that before. But as my mom ushered my sister upstairs, I followed my dad into the kitchen. on the table, next to a small cupcake, but a huge box. I know your sister can be very demanding sometimes, so we wanted to do this for you. I was so heartwarmed that I didn't know what to say. I threw myself at my dad and gave him the biggest hug I've ever given anyone before. He lit the candle, and I got to blow it out. Then, I tore into the box. It was the game console I wanted. That was the last time in a long time that I got to feel happy. That night, I went to bed after plugging my new console in. When I got home from school the next day, I was so excited to play my game. My classmates all had the console too. We were going to meet online and play for hours and hours until bedtime. But when I got home, my console was broken. It was smashed up, and the insides of it were outside. I knew it was my sister who did it. Alina! Alina appeared in front of me, grinning.
Yes?
You broke it! How could you? I'm telling Mom and Dad.
Fine.
I felt like I was walking into a trap. Fine?
Fine. You tell them I broke it, and I'll tell them you pushed me down the stairs.
But I didn't.
But I'll make it look like you did.
That's blackmail.
I know. I looked it up. And if you don't clean my room every day for the next month, I'll tell them you hit me all the time. And that's why I'm acting out.
I could see it all playing out in my head. Her accusing me. My parents kicking me out. They'd never take my side over hers. They knew she was awful, but I don't think they really understood. From that day on, I had to clean my sister's room. She'd spill drinks on the floor or knock over her bin on purpose, and if I ever looked like I was going to complain, she'd remind me that I was minutes away from being left out in the cold.
Clean up that mess. Wash the windows. Vacuum the carpet.
Every day, I got angrier and angrier. She had taken away the one thing I was looking forward to the most. After that, I didn't see anything I was excited for. So, I stopped going into her room.
You're supposed to be cleaning my room.
I don't care. She left with a stamp of her foot, and a minute later, I heard an almighty crash and a scream. My baby. I went to the top of the stairs to see what was going on and found my little sister crumpled at the bottom of the stairs, arm twist wrong.
What happened?
I accidentally broke John's toy box and he pushed me down the stairs.
Oh no, we've let this go too far. Jean, you take Alina to the hospital. I'll deal with John. I didn't say anything. My dad packed my suitcase and then took me to my grandma's house. I got out of the car and let them drive away.
Johnny, is that you?
Yes, Grandma, it's me. I cried and cried and cried. No matter how many cookies Grandma gave me, I still felt rotten. My parents didn't want me. My sister was ill, and I didn't know what my life was going to look like from here on out. 2 years after dropping me off, my grandma died. She was old and sick and had never legally taken custody of me. So when she died, I was left in her house alone because no one knew to look after me. And then I stayed in school. I thought about what I'd given up. That day I refused to give in to my sister. I thought about it, refused to target it, and worked. At school, I got on the honor roll. I worked hard, kept working hard, and then continued to work hard, even when I got into university. Congratulations to John Wilczuk. I graduated and then got out and opened my own car shop. I bought a nice house, met a good woman, and had a baby. I made friends with the locals, got steady business, and even managed to buy my first supercar. On the day I took it out for a drive, it was my 25th birthday. I'd arranged with my employees to take the day off, and they were more than happy to cover me. I was driving down the street when a car suddenly veered into my lane and crashed straight into my car. The first thing I did was jump out of the car and run over to their car. Hey, are you okay?
Oh my God, you destroyed my car.
I did? You're the one that veered into my lane.
I'm calling the police.
The police arrived on the scene not much later and arranged to have both the cars taken to my store. John, hey, how are you doing, my man? Any injuries? Just to my car. It was brand new. These out-of-towners are wild.
Whose side are you on?
Miss, you're under arrest for reckless driving. John, if you want to join us downtown, we can help you file charges.
But he broke my car.
Miss, we have camera footage that says otherwise. They read her rights as our cars were towed away. My poor car barely got to take her first steps because some random lady went and ruined it. Except, she wasn't random. At the station, the officer told me what a strange coincidence it was that we had the same name. What's her first name? Alina. It was my sister. I went into the interrogation room to talk to her. Alina.
How do you know my name?
It's me, John, your brother. She smiled, relieved, but I couldn't fathom why. You're going to pay for every single penny of that car that you broke today.
My husband will pay for it, though I don't know why you wouldn't let me off. I'm your sister.
Maybe so, but only in name. You're nothing to me. And your husband told the officer that called that he was done with you. So here are your options. Either you go to prison and earn the money for my car for as long as you're there, or you can work for me.
Work for you?
I have a family now, and my wife works hard. She doesn't have time to keep up menial tasks around the house. I think it's time for us to hire a cleaner. And what better than someone who will work for free?
Free? That's slavery.
No, it's not. You're paying off damages, and you can either do that in prison or in my house. Your choice. I walked out of the room and asked the officers to give me her answer for tomorrow. She needed time to sit and think. The next evening, I got a call. My sister had made her decision. She had been handed the divorce papers and left absolutely penniless. Alongside owing me money, she now had to pay her husband damages. She was absolutely awful, hot, but spoiled. Not worth the effort. She was dropped off at my door, and my wife immediately set her to work. Alina cleaned up after dinner, took out bags of diapers, washed the windows, vacuumed the floor, and cleaned up every mess we made. A few days later, I hosted a party. Not just any party, one attended by people from our childhood. Former friends, family members, even my parents, who had long since regretted their favoritism, but were too ashamed to reach out. Alina was required to serve drinks and clean up after everyone. Her former friends whispered and giggled, some taking pictures as she scrubbed plates. The ultimate social downfall. As she carried a tray, one of my employees accidentally bumped into her. The tray clattered to the floor, drinks spilling everywhere.
You did that on purpose.
Maybe, but you deserve it, don't you? Alina fumed but stayed silent. She had no choice. I owned her debt, and she had to work it off. But the final blow? I had her sign legal papers ensuring she would pay me back for the damages, including emotional distress. My lawyer made sure it was airtight.
This isn't fair. I was just a kid back then.
And now you're an adult facing consequences. Her husband had divorced her. She was broke, and now she was legally bound to pay me every last cent. She had spent her life being spoiled. Now, she would spend the rest of it repaying what she took from me. Revenge had never tasted sweeter. Thanks for watching. Before I could explain, he punched me, knocking me to the ground. The impact was jarring, and I felt a sharp pain shoot through my jaw. Before I knew what was happening, he handcuffed me, and as I tried to catch my breath, a seizure hit. I was helpless, but Bender just laughed. I convulsed on the ground for minutes and hurt myself as I did. When it finally stopped, I was dizzy and in rough shape, and I pleaded with Officer Bender to see reason. Please, I didn't do anything. Check the cameras. You'll see. Yeah, I'll bet. Don't worry. I called for backup, and when they arrive, we'll take you downtown and process you. And your dog will be brought to the pound where he'll be put down. Backup arrived, and they stuffed Tanner into a small crate while I was thrown into a police car. As we drove to the station, I begged the officers to review the restaurant's security footage. They were reluctant to listen to me, but they also knew that they needed to perform a full investigation. I never thought that my life would revolve around so much drama at a coffee shop of all places. I mean, I've always felt safe and comfortable going to them anywhere in the world, but here I am, and boy, do I have a crazy story to share. My name is Alvin, and my service dog Tanner is my constant companion. Tanner isn't just a dog, he's my lifeline. He helps me manage my epilepsy, alerting me before seizures, and ensuring I'm safe when they happen. Thankfully, I have always been good with computers, and I managed to find a job as a cybersecurity specialist. Working remotely means I can work from anywhere, and my favorite spot has always been a cozy coffee shop downtown. The coffee is great, it's close to a lovely park, and the food is die for. However, nothing ever stays the same, and one day, we were surprised when we showed up for usual morning routine. We saw an odd sign in the window that said it was under new ownership. The shop had been sold to a new owner, Ryan, who from the moment he walked out of the back room and into the main shop area, well, he seemed to have a chip on his shoulder. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it was very obvious that he had a strong disdain for animals. "Hey you, yeah, you with the dog, you can't bring that mud in here anymore." "Excuse me? Hold on, he isn't just some random animal. Tanner is a service dog. He's allowed to be wherever I am." "I don't care what kind of dog he is. No animals in my shop. Now get that smelly beast out of here." I was taken aback by his hostility. I tried to explain Tanner's role, and I even tried to show him the paperwork I carried with me, stating that Tanner had the legal right to be there, but Ryan wasn't having it. To my surprise, he called the police. It was annoying, but I figured that once the police showed up that I could show them my paperwork and everything would be sorted out. But things only ended up getting worse. When Officer Bender arrived, I felt a sliver of hope. He had a police dog with him. Surely he'd understand. But that hope was quickly dashed. "Look, you need to leave. If you don't, I'll have my dog take care of yours. Permanently if you catch my drift. On top of that, if you're not out of here in the next minute, you'll be under arrest and your dog will be put down." "But officer, we have a legal right to be here, and Tanner isn't hurting anyone." "I didn't stutter, buddy. Just leave before I order my dog to rip your dog to pieces. Your choice." Fear gripped me as I left the shop, Tanner by my side. I felt humiliated and powerless. I had never been so mistreated before. In the whole 5 years that I had Tanner, I had never encountered people like Ryan and Bender. Sure, there were some people that gave me grief for Tanner being with me, but once they understood that he was a service dog, they usually stopped and apologized. Instead, both of them were so incredibly hostile. The next day, I was determined not to let Ryan's prejudice control my life. I decided to work from the restaurant next door. I figured it was a safer option, but I was wrong. Ryan somehow spotted me and stormed over, his face red with anger. "What did I tell you about coming around here with that dog? Leave, or I swear I'll make you regret it." "Ryan, I'm not even in your shop. You can't force me to leave this restaurant. They have already told me that it's okay that he is in here. And why do you hate Tanner so much? He's a service dog, not a pet." "I hate all dogs. One attacked me as a kid. They smell, they shed, and they're loud. Just get out. I'm good friends with the owner of this restaurant and he'll take my side if I tell him that your dog is violent." I tried to reason with him, promising to leave once my food arrived and take it with me to go. Ryan begrudgingly left, but not without a final threat. Once he was gone, I changed my mind and decided to stay and eat there. As I ate, I noticed Officer Bender and his dog partner walking by. He saw me and made a beeline for my table. "You again? I thought I told you to stay away. Just because this isn't the same shop as yesterday doesn't change a thing." "Please, officer, I'm just trying to work. Tanner is a service dog. This is my right." He sneered, enjoying his power trip. His presence made my heart race, but I tried to remain calm. Meanwhile, Ryan was up to something. I saw him sneaking around. He entered the restaurant again, and I braced myself for a shouting match, but he just skulked around while I arguing with Officer Bender. I later found out that while I was speaking with Bender, that Ryan was placing a stake on the ground near Tanner. Thankfully, Tanner is very well trained, and he ignored it, but Bender's police dog wasn't as disciplined. The dog rushed over and ate the steak, convulsing moments later before collapsing. I then realized that Ryan had poisoned the steak and had intended for Tanner to eat it, but had inadvertently seriously hurt the police dog. "Oh no, someone call a vet quickly." "What happened? What did you do to my dog?" "You did this. You're going to pay." Before I could explain, he punched me, knocking me to the ground. The impact was jarring, and I felt a sharp pain shoot through my jaw. Before I knew what was happening, he handcuffed me, and as I tried to catch my breath, a seizure hit. I was helpless, but Bender just laughed. I convulsed on the ground for minutes and hurt myself as I did. When it finally stopped, I was dizzy and in rough shape, and I pleaded with Officer Bender to see reason. "Please, I didn't do anything. Check the cameras. You'll see." Yeah, I'll bet. Don't worry. I called for backup, and when they arrive, we'll take you downtown and process you. And your dog will be brought to the pound where he'll be put down. Backup arrived, and they stuffed Tanner into a small crate while I was thrown into a police car. As we drove to the station, I begged the officers to review the restaurant's security footage. They were reluctant to listen to me, but they also knew that they needed to perform a full investigation, and so thankfully, they watched the footage. Hours later, I was released. The footage clearly showed Ryan sneaking up behind me and planting the steak on the ground, giggling the whole time. It was plain as day that I had nothing to do with the poisoned steak. Once I was released, I went straight to a lawyer and told them everything that had happened. He told me that I had a very good case and that he could guarantee me results. My wrongful arrest led to a lawsuit, and I was awarded a substantial settlement, and Bender was fired and sentenced to prison for his actions. He didn't end up being in prison for more than a year, but it was something at least. Ryan, however, wasn't so lucky. His attempt to harm Tanner backfired, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the death of a police dog, who was considered a police officer just as much as any human. In the aftermath, I struggled to process everything. Tanner stayed by my side, his calm presence a comfort during the turbulent days. The coffee shop was sold again, and the new owner took it in a completely different direction. It became a cat cafe. And of course, service animals were welcome so long as they got along well with cats. And Tanner, being a very good boy, loved visiting the cats. Despite the trauma, we found happiness again, and for that, I'm forever grateful. With Tanner by my side, I know we can face anything. Our journey has been difficult, but it has taught me the value of resilience and the importance of standing up for what's right. Together, we've moved forward, stronger than ever. The first few days after the incident were a blur of legal consultations and media attention. Tanner and I became the center of a heated debate about the rights of service animals. Advocacy groups reached out, offering support and sharing similar stories of discrimination. It was overwhelming, but I knew this was bigger than just Tanner and me. One night, as I sat at home with Tanner curled up at my feet, I received a call from an old friend, Emma, who worked as a journalist. She had seen the news and wanted to write a feature about our experience. We talked for hours, and for the first time, I felt like our story could make a difference.
Alvin, people need to hear this. It's not just about raising awareness, it's about creating change. Are you ready for that?
I think so, Emma. If our story can help even one person, it's worth it. The article was published a week later, and the response was overwhelming. Messages poured in from across the country, people sharing their own experiences, offering support, and thanking us for speaking out. It was both heartwarming and humbling. I also think it helped bring attention to our case and possibly helped to prevent Officer Bender from getting just a slap on the wrist. Meanwhile, the legal proceedings against Officer Bender and Ryan continued. The courtroom was tense as evidence was presented, showing the clear discrimination and abuse of power. The judge didn't hold back in his sentencing, emphasizing the severity of their actions. The justice system had worked in our favor, but the journey had taken its toll. I was determined to use this experience to advocate for better training and awareness about service animals. After 1 year, when Officer Bender was released, he couldn't get any proper job because people had posted pictures of him online, exposing how cruel he was to both dogs and humans when he was a police officer. Employers were afraid of getting a bad reputation by hiring him, so he ended up working as a security guard at a small restaurant. Even though I was compensated, I still wanted my own revenge. I tracked Officer Bender to where he worked and hired 2 guys to kidnap him. We locked him in a basement with 3 different dogs for 3 days and made him eat from the same dish as the dogs. When the guys finally released him, he had to skip town that same night. Serves him right. The cat cafe became our sanctuary. Tanner quickly became a favorite among the patrons, especially the cats, who seemed to enjoy his gentle nature. Life slowly returned to normal, but the lessons we learned stayed with us. Thanks for watching.
Daniel was going too fast. He wasn't paying attention. He never did. The car struck her with a sickening thud. She flew forward, landing hard on the gravel, motionless. My heart dropped. Stop! She's bleeding! We need to call an ambulance. I scrambled for the door handle, but my father's hand shot out.
No. Think, Isabella. If we report this, Daniel's career is finished. We'll lose everything.
She's dying. Are you insane?
quiet! We'll move her off the road. It'll look like she was walking drunk. No one will connect it to us.
I stared at them, horrified. Daniel sat frozen, hands trembling on the wheel. Not guilt, though. Fear. Fear for himself. Please help me. We can still save her. He shook his head.
If you care so much, you do it. But don't drag me down.
I knelt beside the woman. She was still breathing faintly, blood soaking her dress. I tried to press my scarf against her wound, whispering that help was coming. But behind me, my parents were already dragging her limp body toward the ditch.
Get back in the car, Isabella, now.
Do you want to ruin your brother? Do you want to destroy this family?
My name is Isabella, though my parents only ever called me Izzy. Not with love, but with the sort of sharpness that makes the word sound like a burden. From the day I was born, they made it clear who really mattered in the family. It wasn't me. It was Daniel, my brother, their golden child, their miracle, their pride. I was the shadow in the house, existing only to make his spotlight brighter. The first memory that sticks with me is when Daniel turned 13. I had the flu, burning fever, body aching so badly I couldn't stand. I missed his birthday celebration. I thought he would understand. Instead, he came to my room that evening with a scowl.
You ruined my party, Izzy. You always ruin things.
Before I could even protest, he dragged me to the bathroom, shoved me inside, and locked the door. I banged on it, crying, too weak to fight. Daniel, please, I'm sick. His friends laughed from the hallway. The music of his party drowned out my cries. When my parents found out what he did, I expected outrage. But instead...
Don't be dramatic, Izzy. You're overreacting. Daniel was just playing.
That's our boy, spirited. You should learn to laugh more, Izzy.
Locked in that bathroom, crying on the cold tiles, I realized something. I would never matter to them as much as he did. Years later, when Daniel turned 21, my parents decided to throw him the biggest birthday party yet. They wanted to show him off. They rented the hall, invited hundreds of guests, hired a band. But when it came to the work behind it, they turned to me.
Izzy, you'll handle the decorations, the cooking, the setup. No need to waste money on maids when you're here.
That's too much for one person, Mom. Can't we hire someone to help?
Stop being lazy. Do something useful for once in your life. Daniel deserves this.
So I worked. I carried tables, scrubbed floors, peeled mountains of vegetables, decorated every corner until my hands blistered. For 2 days straight, I ran around on no sleep. On the morning of the party, they shoved me into the kitchen, barking orders while Daniel strutted around in his tailored suit like royalty. By the time the first guests arrived, I was pale and shaking. I asked for food, but Mom brushed me off.
Later, Izzy. The guests eat first. Stop thinking of yourself.
That's when my world went black. I collapsed on the floor, unconscious, while outside they laughed and toasted Daniel. No one checked on me until hours later. Still, I clawed my way toward independence. I worked double shifts, saved every penny, and eventually bought myself a used car. My first big achievement. My parents didn't congratulate me. They didn't even smile. Instead,
sell it, Isabella. Daniel needs money for his football career. Or maybe music. We'll see which takes off. Your brother has talent. You don't. It's your duty to support him.
This car is mine. I worked for it. I'm not selling it for Daniel's hobbies.
Wow, Izzy. Selfish much? Don't worry. When I'm famous, I'll buy you a bicycle.
They laughed at me, but I refused to give it up. For once, I held on to something that was mine. Then came the worst blow. I lost my job. Downsizing, they said. I came home devastated, clutching the termination letter. My parents barely looked up from their wine glasses.
Figures. You can't hold on to anything, Izzy. Not even a job.
Meanwhile, Daniel is still with us, still destined for greatness. You're a disappointment.
Daniel smirked from the couch, playing video games, not paying a cent toward rent or food. It was then I decided to start a YouTube channel. I had nothing left to lose. I poured my stories, my frustrations, my truths into the camera. At first, no one cared. But slowly, people started listening. My only real investment was a pair of smart glasses with a Google Lens feature, doubling as a hidden camera. They became my escape, my secret tool. I had no idea they would record the crime that would change everything. That summer, my parents insisted we go on a family road trip. Daniel insisted on driving, of course. I sat in the back, glasses on. Then it happened. I thought I had endured the worst of their favoritism, but then came the road trip. That's when everything changed. That's when fate, or maybe justice, handed me the weapon I didn't know I had. By then, I had started a YouTube channel. Nothing big yet. Just me talking about life, reviewing books, sometimes ranting about how unfair things felt. My one real investment was a pair of smart glasses with a hidden camera and Google Lens features. I wore them constantly, partly for fun, partly for content. I had no idea they'd end up recording my family's darkest crime. We were driving through the countryside. Daniel insisted on being behind the wheel, of course. He loved control. I sat in the back, watching the world roll by through my glasses. Then it happened. Out of nowhere, a woman stepped onto the road. Daniel was going too fast. He wasn't paying attention. He never did. The car struck her with a sickening thud. She flew forward, landing hard on the gravel, motionless. My heart dropped. Stop! She's bleeding! We need to call an ambulance. I scrambled for the door handle, but my father's hand shot out.
No. Think, Isabella. If we report this, Daniel's career is finished. We'll lose everything.
She's dying. Are you insane?
Quiet! We'll move her off the road. It'll look like she was walking drunk. No one will connect it to us.
I stared at them, horrified. Daniel sat frozen, hands trembling on the wheel. Not guilt, though. Fear. Fear for himself. Please help me. We can still save her. He shook his head.
If you care so much, you do it. But don't drag me down.
I knelt beside the woman. She was still breathing faintly, blood soaking her dress. I tried to press my scarf against her wound, whispering that help was coming. But behind me, my parents were already dragging her limp body toward the ditch.
Get back in the car, Isabella, now.
Do you want to ruin your brother? Do you want to destroy this family?
I froze, shaking, torn between rage and despair. And then I remembered. My glasses. They had seen everything. When we returned to the city, I didn't sleep. I uploaded the footage from my glasses onto a secure drive, hands trembling. The video was clear, Daniel hitting the woman, my parents covering it up, their words dripping with cruelty. I knew what I had to do. I went to the police. In court, the video was played. The jury watched Daniel hit the woman, my parents covering it up, their voices cold and calculated. The judge stared at them with disgust. The judge adjusted his glasses, staring hard at them.
This court finds your actions reprehensible. Not only did you fail to assist the victim, but you deliberately obstructed any chance of her survival. The woman died because of your choices.
I sat there, tears streaming but steady.
Miss Isabella, your courage in coming forward, even against your own family, is commendable. Without your testimony, justice would have been buried alongside that poor woman.
My mother turned in her seat, eyes blazing.
You ungrateful witch, you destroyed us. You'll regret this, Izzy. Curse you.
You're no daughter of mine. You'll rot alone. You'll pay for betraying me. I was meant to be great, and you ruined it all.
I didn't answer. Their curses only proved what I had always known. I was never their family. The judge banged the gavel.
Daniel, Margaret, and Robert, this court sentences you to prison terms fitting your crimes. May you reflect on the life you stole.
Prison stripped them of everything. And word got back to me about what life was like for them inside. Daniel, once so smug, was humiliated daily.
Hey, superstar, sing us a song. Isn't your sister more famous than you now?
They made him scrub toilets, tripped him in the cafeteria, shoved his face into his food. My father, who once puffed his chest at me, was reduced to a joke.
Look at Daddy's boy. Can't even lift a mop. What kind of man lets his kid take the fall for him?
They made him clean bathrooms while others watched and jeered. And my mother, who once called me weak, was tormented the most.
Pretty lady? Thought you were high class? Not anymore. You're just another number now.
They cut her hair short, made her scrub floors on her knees, mocked her until she cried. Their curses against me meant nothing now. They were living their punishment every day. And me? I stayed in the house alone. For the first time in my life, I had peace. No shouts, no insults, no footsteps storming toward me. Just quiet. My YouTube channel exploded after the trial. Millions wanted to hear the story. They wanted to see the girl who stood up against her own family for the truth. I told them everything. Sometimes I sit in my room, staring at the smart glasses that changed my life. The weight of what happened still lingers. The woman died, and that pain will never leave me. But I know I honored her the only way I could, by refusing to stay silent. Now I live free, while they rot in prison, mocked by strangers the way they once mocked me. And to those watching, remember, don't force your daughters to plan your son's birthday parties without food. They might just bring you down in 4K. Hit like, subscribe, and hey, don't lock your sisters in bathrooms.
My name is Marcus Hill, and I'm a 16-year-old black kid from a small city where snow sticks to your sneakers and rich kids rule the hallways. The first thing you should know about me is that I'm used to fighting uphill battles, not with my fists, but with my patience. In my school, being the only black kid in most of my classes already painted a target on my back. That target had two names, Bradley and Carter. They weren't just bullies. They were hurricanes with designer sneakers and parents who wrote big checks to our private school. Their fathers owned construction companies. Their mothers chaired charity boards, and their names were on plaques all over campus. Everyone knew it, especially the principal. From day one, Bradley and Carter treated me like their personal punching bag. They called it jokes. I called it terror. You don't have to sit here, you know. Oh, we do. It's funny watching you pretend you belong here. Yeah, enjoy your scholarship seat while it lasts, Marcus. That was my first week. By the third week, they'd escalated. They shoved my books onto the floor every morning. They'd grab my lunch tray and toss my food in the trash while smirking at the lunch lady. They even spread rumors about me in the locker room. I heard Marcus got suspended in his old school for stealing laptops. No man, it was worse. He threatened a teacher with a knife. I'd never done anything of the sort. But soon kids avoided me. Teachers gave me wary looks. Even my history teacher, Mr. Lewis, a nice man who wore bow ties, started flinching when I raised my hand. Bradley and Carter didn't just target me. They were toxic to everyone, even the teachers. Once in chemistry class, they switched the labels on 2 containers, so the teacher's experiment exploded in foam. Another time, they secretly recorded our math teacher, Miss Harper, on TikTok and added clown filters to her face. It went viral. She cried in the staff bathroom. Nothing happened to them. Their parents handled it. I reported them countless times. Principal Harris always gave the same tired smile. Marcus, we take all complaints seriously. But without evidence, there's evidence. People saw. Teenagers can be dramatic. Focus on your studies. Focus on my studies. Right. While I dodged spitballs, jokes about my skin, and whispers that I'd been arrested before. The winter it all changed, started with an icy sidewalk and my bicycle. One gray afternoon, I was riding home from school when Bradley and Carter blocked my path near an alley. Nice bike, Marcus. Bet it's stolen. Move. I'm not in the mood. He's not in the mood. You hear that, Brad? They yanked me off the bike. My knees hit the icy pavement. Bradley grinned, pushing my bike toward Carter like it was a trophy. We're taking this for a spin. Consider it reparations. That one stung. Not the words, I'd heard worse, but the way Carter laughed. They pedaled off, leaving me in the slush. I started walking home, my hands shoved in my thin jacket, eyes stinging. That's when I saw it. A glint in the snow under a street lamp. A ring. Thick, old, gold but tarnished, etched with symbols I didn't recognize. It looked like something out of a museum. I picked it up, wiped it on my jeans, and slipped it on my finger. A jolt shot through me like lightning. My breath came out in gasps. The world around me blurred for a second, then snapped back. My heart pounded. When I started walking again, my feet felt weightless. I took a running step and suddenly, whoosh, I was at my front door, blocks away, in less than 10 seconds. I skidded to a stop, snow spraying. My hands trembled. What was that? Later, washing my dad's car to calm down, I leaned against the bumper, and the whole car rolled forward like it was made of cardboard. I jumped back. Okay, this isn't normal. I experimented. Running around the block took me 3 seconds. Lifting a full garbage bin felt like lifting a pillow. I realized the ring wasn't just jewelry. It was power. For the first time in my life, I had the upper hand. The next week at school, Bradley and Carter were waiting by the lockers. They yanked my backpack, tore my glasses off my face, and snapped them in half. Oops, guess you can't see, Marcus. Maybe you'll bump into jail again. They shoved me hard. I fell, palms burning. My heart pounded. I reached into my pocket. The ring. I slipped it on. The world slowed down like syrup. Bradley's smirk stretched into slow motion. Carter's hand hovered midair. I stood up. Your turn. I moved faster than they could see. A blur of fists. Not enough to kill, but enough to make them remember. Bradley's nose cracked. Carter crumpled against the lockers, wheezing. Their eyes were wide with terror. Sirens. Someone had called the cops. I zipped out of the hallway and was home in less than a minute. The security camera on our porch showed me arriving at 3:45 p.m., long before the fight was even reported. When the police came, my mom showed them the footage. I sat calmly on the couch, sipping cocoa. The boys claim you attacked them, broke their noses. I was home. Ask your cameras. They did. The timestamps cleared me. Bradley and Carter looked like liars. The next day at school, the bullies avoided me. Their bandages told the story. I smiled, but I wasn't done. 2 nights later, I snuck into Carter's mansion. Moving at super speed, I slipped past motion sensors and guards like a shadow. In his room, I placed a kitchen knife on his bed, dripped fake blood from a bottle of ketchup, and arranged a note. Sleep tight. M. The next morning at school, Carter's face was pale. Did you like my gift? How did you get past? I run fast. His jaw trembled. 2 days later, both boys were withdrawn from the school. Their parents transferred them to a private academy across the state. That was the revenge everyone saw. But here's the twist. The ring had a cost. At first, it was just little things. My fingertips tingled after I used it. My vision blurred for a second. Then my reflection in the bathroom mirror flickered, like someone else was standing behind me. One night, after a sprint, I heard a voice inside my head. Power for power, price for price. I yanked the ring off, heart hammering. The whisper stopped. The next day, Mr. Lewis, my bow-tie teacher, pulled me aside. Marcus, you seem different. Different how? Like you're walking with lightning in your veins. He wasn't wrong. I'd won. But I'd also crossed a line. Sneaking into Carter's room, terrorizing them psychologically. That wasn't self-defense anymore. That was vengeance. And yet, a part of me didn't regret it. Not after years of humiliation, bruises, and whispers about my skin and my scholarship seat. Sometimes at night, I'd roll the ring between my fingers and wonder, who made it? Why was it in the snow? And what would it take from me next time I used it? But for now, the hallways of St. Joseph's Academy were quiet. Kids stopped whispering when I walked past. Even Principal Harris smiled nervously at me. I'd become the storm. I guess the moral is this. Be careful what powers you pick up in the snow. They might change your life, or your soul. Oh, and if you like this story, laughs, go ahead, smash that like button and subscribe. Otherwise, who knows? I might just leave a knife on your bed tonight.